Hi, my name is Shi Tian. Today I'm going to show you how to sew a simple dog jacket or dog coat using fleece materials. And I'm going to do the pattern based on the one I have here. When you open, it's a very simple one piece. So let's get started. The dog coat I have is just too small for my dog, but I can keep the same shape but extend the bottom piece, just make it bigger. So we are going to draw the pattern first on a brown paper. I'm folding in half because it's identical on both sides, so I will fold the fabric in half too when I cut it. First, I put the folded side on the edge and I just trace it over with a pencil line. So that's how it looks like. I'm going to adjust it, make this part bigger and make everything else a little bit bigger because my dog is growing and this one's just too small for him, but otherwise the shape works very well. So I draw the dotted line, that's the cut line. I make it a little bit bigger because I'm just going to use one thick layer of the fleece fabric, so I don't need a seam allowance. I can finish it with a bias tape. Next, I put the pattern on the fabric. The fabric is folded and this side is a folded line. Now I cut out the pattern piece of the circle. I will do the same with the fabric piece. I can just cut a line in the middle first and then start cutting the circle. I will do it layer by layer. I'm not going to cut two layers at a time because it's more difficult. You can also draw on fabric with a fabric paint like this. This is washable when it's wet, so it will disappear. And some of them will disappear after a couple hours. Or you can just use any marker because it will be enclosed by some bias tape. So I just trace it. And then cut it out. Next, I'm going to finish the edge with bias tape. I have here double folded and this is 4 yard. This is a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter, and for something like this is 1/2 inch. So it's up to you. I think the thinner one is easier for the circular shape. For the outside, maybe the 1/2 inch will be easier to sew, but it's the same technique, same process. And if you don't have the bias tape, you can just cut by yourself. Cut the fabric, cut the long strip, and it's better to cut it 45 degrees so it has the same function as bias tape. That means it doesn't stretch out too easily. I'm going to use the white one to finish my edges. And when you open it up, you'll see one side is shorter than the other side. See this side, you see a gap here, and that's the side we are going to sew. We open up this one and we lay it over the fabric and we sew a line in the folded line first. We sew here the folded line first, and then after we're done, we fold everything over and sew another line along the edge. I'm going to start with the armhole, the circular shape, and just open up the bias tape. The first thing we do is open up the side that's a little bit shorter of the bias tape. Usually one side is a little bit shorter. See, there's a gap. So we open up this side and align it with fabric, and we sew the folded line. I will leave about 2 inches so we can overlap when we come to the other end. And we just start sewing. I like to start with a few back stitch. When it comes to the ending, you can just cut it. You can just cut it with an angle. You open up all of them, all the layers, so it's not folded, it's a big piece. You overlay the 2 pieces and just cut a big angle. Like that. So it's about 45-degree angle. It doesn't have to be exact. Now we just keep going. Overlap a few stitches, or you can back up a few stitches, so make sure it's secure. That's it. Now that's what it looks like. This is one side and that's the other side. So the next step is just to fold it. For this part we can overlap a little bit. We cut it earlier, so we can just overlap, fold it, and sew a line near the edge. If you can use the same color of the thread, you'll be better, but I'm just going to use my gray color. That's what it looked like. That's one side, that's the other side. And we'll do the same for the other armhole. That's what it looks like so far, but there's an angle here that's a little bit difficult. So if you want, you can just cut it out to round it up. And also I round up this part a little bit so I don't have to worry about this. But I'm going to keep this square, and I'm going to start my bias tape from here all the way, and I will have another piece over on top of here that's with the finished edge. So I will start with the edge of this square, go all the way back to here, and I'll open up the shorter side. I'm going to start directly from the edge and sew the folded line. Back stitch first, and then I'll just keep sewing. Now we are almost at the end. This is a square edge, so we'll sew all the way to the end and then cut it up. Back stitch. And I will just cut up here because I'm going to have another piece to go over on this side. Now we sew up everything except the 2 straight line, and it's the same thing. We just have to open up. The only difference is we want to fold the edges first, fold it down, so when we sew it up, the first sew line is here, the first folding line. After we sew it and turn it over, you will have a finished edge on the left side. We do the same on the other side. So we fold up the edge a little bit, like that, and align to the corner, and we start sewing the first line. And at the edge, we just cut an extra piece and fold it over, like the beginning of this strip. Fold it over and just sew over. Back stitch up a little bit. So that's what it looks like now. The only thing left is to fold over. That's the edge. Fold it over and sew it from the other side. Sew near the edge, and that will finish up everything. You can cut out a slight angle if it's easier to sew, so it doesn't come up too much. Then we just fold and fold and sew the line. The next, I'm cutting up two Velcros, two long pieces of Velcros, so when it's closed, it will be secured like that.